Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and you're like, wait, you're getting in the car. Where are you going in the car? I didn't bring my little microphone, so it's going to be a little echoey, but I'm going to the cardiologist. So I go to the cardiologist every year, and that's because I've had heart palpitations ever since my anxiety was a thing, which was like 4 or 5. Didn't know what it was, right? You don't really worry about like those things when you're like 5, 6, 7 years old, because you don't really know them. Like you fear them, but you don't know. It's weird. Like that's just kind of where anxiety kind of stems, right? And my mom had, I'm writing about this in the book too. My mom had, growing up, right? So she passed 9 days before my 14th birthday, but she had like from 6 on, she was just not good. She had over a period of time, over those years, she had heart attack, she had a stroke, she was paralyzed on the left side, she had hairy cell leukemia, she ended up brushing off a mole, so she ended up with melanoma that ended up, it's graphic, but like went into the brain area, like that way. She had extreme hypochondriasis, which is where you always think something's wrong. I mean, in that case it was, but even before then, the health anxiety would trigger because everything, she was like afraid of everything, and the moment like she had a finger pain, it was going to be a problem. But we didn't have Google back then, so her mind ran crazy with her anyway. But if she had had Google, it would have been completely lights out for her, because she just had the worst anxiety. So me seeing that growing up and then having everything go through that, yes, it had created an enormous amount of health anxiety for me. Enormous, right? Even now, from time to time, I got to remind myself, oh, that old stuff. You better just do what you need to do head on. So when I was 19, they did, because my heart was always having those palpitations. That was, of course, was like 30 some years ago, right? And so they didn't really understand. They understood anxiety because I was in the hospital overnight, and they did this on purpose. Like they had me there. Kim actually drove me there, and they ran this electrical thing up through my main artery in my groin to control my heart. So they would take it up, they would take it down. It was really weird because I'd go lightheaded, then it was hot. Like it was just weird because you had no control over your body. You talk about, ooh, and you have to be awake for it. You can't, because they have to ask you questions. So I can remember like laying there and like these people are up there and they're like staring at you, and it's bizarre. But I have been going to the cardiologist for years. And, I think to some point it's, like I said, it's a hypochondriasis where you're always in fear of like, well, what could be? But what you don't realize is you're doing the opposite by avoiding it. Not forget health anxiety for a minute. With anything, stop avoiding it. Stop avoiding your past. Stop avoiding your triggers. Stop avoiding your traumas. Stop avoiding them, because it's going to like really rule you, but especially when it comes to your health anxiety, because you think that you're ignoring it, that it'll just go away. No, like you want to be abreast to all of the things that are going on with you, right? So you want to get your physicals. Listen, it's okay. You might have white coat syndrome. Your blood pressure might be up a little bit. Doctors are aware of this. Don't panic. They don't freak out unless like numbers crazy off the chart. But like I'm on the way to the cardiologist now, and she says I have these PACs, which is like it's like a like my heart does a weird fire thing, right? They've sonogrammed it. They've done all that. So I just go every year. Yeah, they still happen. I know that they're kind of basically benign. That they just check me every year. So that's where we're going. So you gotta stop getting in your headspace to worry about that, because again, I know where mine stems from. I saw that. And then both of my parents have passed from cancers. Like mental health issues are in the family. Like, I mean, some of it, you're not going to outrun your genes. You just are not going to outrun your genes. You can help it though by staying on top of things. And as much as you don't want to do it, you got to go. If you're a female, get your mammogram. Even if you are born male, that doesn't mean that you can't have stuff going on with your breasts. So you want to get that looked at. You want to make sure that you're getting your examinations, your dentist, your dental work. I don't care how bad you fare at the dentist. Not only is it good for your teeth, your gums. If you have gum issues, bacteria can get in there, and that can cause heart problems. Did you know? Because it can. It absolutely can. And I think when I went through a lot of the stuff I've learned about like the brain and health and all of those things, it's become a little bit easier for me. But don't outrun it. All right. So we're going to go and let's see what Dr. Sullivan has to say about the old ticker. cardiac anatomy. Always good to like know what's in your body. Don't let that stress you out. I mean, that's exactly what your heart looks like. Your valves, anterior piece of the heart, the chambers through here. So they did the EKG, they did the blood. My blood pressure is always up when I go to the doctor's. Like, not up, it's like 124/88, but my blood pressure runs low. My blood pressure normally is like 90/60 or 100/60. So to me, that's high. It's not. It's every time I walk into a doctor's office, I don't freak out. I just know that it happens. And they're like, yeah, you're fine. Like, and I'm like, I know. And then they do the EKG, which the setup is a hell of a lot longer than the process, right? And I kind of is cool because I always feel like I'm like the bionic woman. I have all those electrodes on me and I'm always like, oh, am I gonna be bionic now? So yeah, so now I guess we just wait and see what she has to say. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, before I want to do a PSA, before we get into this little clip of me at the heart doctor. This is my doctor. She's given me advice. This is her talking to me, not the world. However, if you like or want to go listen to some of her recommendations or just some of her knowledge and talk to your doctor about it, that's great. But keep in mind, this is my doctor at my doctor's appointment. So don't diagnose, don't think that she's talking to you. She's talking to me. So just wanted to clarify that before we jump into it. I am feeling pretty good.
Good.
I don't know. You tell me how I'm feeling.
Yeah, your EKG looked fine and your blood pressure's perfect. So from my end now, you're going to get blood work in
next month. Yeah,
okay.
Next month for my your hair looks good. For a month, we look like twins, except for I have bangs. In a month for my physical.
Okay.
And I'll have them send you over that.
All right, great.
Question for you. Mm-hmm. So I've been working out like cardiovascularly, like cardio, 3 days a week. At my age at 51, should I be doing more? Because I can do more.
Yeah, I mean, usually the recommendation for kind of that 3 days a week, 20 minutes, 30 minutes is kind of old school.
Okay.
Usually we recommend that you do some sort of physical activity every day of the week.
Okay.
So a combination of cardio and weightlifting or stretching, strength training, isometrics, those sorts of things seems to be beneficial from a cardiovascular standpoint. So kind of mixing it up is a good idea. So a lot of times people will do the cardio 3 or 4 days a week, and then they'll do the
weights and stretching and Pilates and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Because I just recently read an article saying that they recommend 150 minutes. That's about 5 days a week, 30 minutes. So that's good because I'm gonna elevate it because you know, I mean, given like my palpitations in the past, and which by the way seem to have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Adding in the magnesium. Yeah. I'm definitely doing more plant-based. That's good too, and oatmeal's good.
Yeah.
Good.
High fiber.
Good.
Is good.
Anything else you recommend? Oh, I also read an article just yesterday, so I always never know what's real and what's not. So always good to ask a doctor.
Yeah.
I read that it said that if you have 2 glasses of coffee, that the caffeine is actually good for the heart. Is that a thing? Is that true?
I mean, they've done plenty of studies looking at coffee intake. Because a lot of people drink coffee, and you know, people kind of assume that it was bad for the heart.
Right, because it makes the heart speed up. Right, yeah.
So what they found is that as long as you keep it under 5 cups a day, it's actually beneficial.
Really? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get because I've been doing decaf.
Yeah.
I was like,
decaf probably isn't more health promoting because of the process to decaffeinate it. May add something artificial into it. So blonde roasts have more caffeine.
Okay.
The more you roast it, the less the caffeine. So the darker roasts actually are lower in caffeine.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I would think that it would be stronger. When you think like the lighter would be lighter in caffeine, right?
No. So it's the opposite. So if you want to get the lowest amount of caffeine, then, you know, go for the darker roast coffees.
Or I just go to Dunkin' and let them give me whatever Dunkin' wants to give me. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been definitely doing my vitamins, especially being in postmenopause and all that stuff. So I will up my game.
So the only thing you want to avoid is over-the-counter fish oil because that can actually promote arrhythmias. increases your risk for atrial fibrillation, and that's been shown in several studies.
I didn't know that. I thought fish oils were good.
Yeah, no. There is a prescription form of fish oil that is just EPA.
Okay.
That the study showed some benefit, but your average over-the-counter fish oil is either no benefit or an increased risk for atrial fibrillation.
I had no idea that. Wow, look at you dropping knowledge out here. This is good. No, this is really good because I think, you hear one thing, don't eat bread, eat bread. Don't eat what, don't do this, do this. Don't drink wine, drink wine. All of those things. And is that true? Having a glass of wine a day is good for the heart.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of your way to do it.
Right.
I think that if you want to have an occasional glass of wine, it's not going to be harmful if that's what you want to do. I wouldn't purposely
go out. But like coffee I could do because that's something that's good. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. And plant-based and things like that, good promotion for health?
Yeah, as long as you don't overdo the carbohydrates, which you're not, as long as you're not overweight. Sometimes people, when they go vegetarian, get really heavy on the carbs.
Yeah, like rices and pastas and things like that.
And they start gaining weight, and you don't want to do that. So as long as everything's balanced, as long as you're getting enough protein intake, which can be challenging.
Tricky, yes.
And you kind of make sure that you get a good balance, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some people, it's not the kind of thing where one diet fits all. Some people respond better to certain diets than others. And some people find it easier for certain diets than others.
I know a lot of people seem to find keto easy. But I know that could be heavy in cholesterols and cheeses and things like that.
I've had people who have had a significant rise in their cholesterol on the keto diet. And I had one patient that was going heavy with the keto and had a heart attack. So we don't know if it's related, but you just have to be really cautious. Yeah,
so it's like, and I know that the Mediterranean they say is a great way of eating. So I try to make sure I get my fish, not fish oil, but I try to make sure to get a good, do you recommend salmon?
Yeah, anything that has high in those
like a higher
fatty acids that are healthy for you.
Good.
Is always good.
Well, good. That's good to know. You are my favorite friend that I see when you tell me my heart is ticking well and I'm good. What am I good for, like a year?
Yeah, I think so. Go ahead and have a seat up here.
Okay, we'll do. Well, you heard her. So I'm going to have to up my workout game, I think. Preferably, you heard her say I should do something every day. It just doesn't mean you have to go run a marathon every day. It just means do some stretching, do some exercise, which I've known. I mean, I used to be a personal trainer. I knew that. But I was like, well, mentally for my anxiety, for my depression or anything that comes in, I was like, let me just get in 3 days. And that's good. 3 days is still better than no days. But I am going to up my game. I did recently study and read in an article that you definitely want 150 minutes of cardio. So that's about 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Doesn't have to be in succession. And I do weight training. So I'm going to add in another day of that and then have a light day of just stretching. So that's going to be my plan. And then even though I know that the caffeine can sometimes trigger feeling a little anxious, I'm going to start doing more of the caffeinated, because just like she was saying and what we were talking about a little bit offline was, she's like, the decaf is fine. If you really, but there's still caffeine, which I knew, but there's also this process that goes into play when they're actually taking the caffeine out. And it was interesting. I had no idea. I love learning things. The rule of thumb is learn something new every day. I learned a lot new today. And one is I'm going to up my game. 2 things I learned. Fish oil, over-the-counter fish oil, not that good for you and can actually cause arrhythmia. Interesting facts, right? And that the darker the dark roast has less caffeine than the blonde. It's just bizarre because in my brain, I thought opposite. So I love learning something new. It really rocks my day. It's in a good way. But yeah, so go get your stuff done. Go get it. Talk to your doctor. Be willing to listen. Be willing to change. And like she said, and I've always said this, I don't believe in diets anyway, but one diet doesn't fit everybody. Keto may not be beneficial for everyone. It might for some. Mediterranean is pretty much proven to be the number one heart health way of eating. I don't always eat that way either. So I don't want to cut things out. I just want to be more mindful. So I want to be a lot, and again, watch the heavy carbs. That's what she was saying. Like, it's pretty hard because carbs can be bad for you too, but that doesn't mean avoid them completely. So don't hear that. Everything can be bad in excess. Everything, even the healthiest things on the planet. So, but yeah, you were at the doctor's with me. So thanks for coming along. Make sure that you go and get that done. Let me know how your doctor's appointments go. Let me know what your doctor tells you. Let's spread the knowledge, actual knowledge, not just stuff on social media or, you heard it from an actual physical heart doctor, not somebody who's not a doctor. So I think we should probably take that to heart. You know what I mean? So I love you guys. Go get yourself checked.